Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
Nice, Nash.
That wasn't me.
Way to start this one off great. Belching into the microphone. Yeah. We have David Nash on Skype again because, we're in the middle of the stay-at-home pandemic.
Yep.
Social distancing.
How are you guys doing? Good to see you.
Yeah. Good to see everybody.
Definitely. I'm doing pretty good. I mean, still going to work every day. Luckily, I still employed and still going into work. So I prefer to work from home, but it is what it is.
Right.
But we're getting through day by day.
Good. Dave, you good? Your family's good?
Yep. Same here. Working every day working from home. So not going in, actually not allowed on at my place of work because they don't want anyone bringing coronavirus to that location. So,
right.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Well, all right. I'm glad you're healthy, doing well. We're all right. I think I'm on week 4 of working from home. It's I'm really starting to hate the home office and my coworkers, which would be, in this case, my dog. All she does, she comes upstairs. She barks at every, someone slams her car door. She's barking. I'm in the middle of a meeting. I'd have to mute the mic because she's barking at nothing.
Oh, God.
And then since she's an older dog, once she dozes off, she snores. It's insane how loud she is.
Now, I saw a thing that, unless it's a really, intense meeting, absolutely no one is going to be upset by an animal being part of that meeting. So.
Yeah, and no one ever has. They're always like, oh, my dog's here too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, Lulu.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's what we got to deal with, and just to get through this, but we'll make it. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the ghost hound of Goshen. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we got some listener feedback. We got a couple stories for the second half. And also, I always forget to do this, but we are part of the Podbelly Network. Just go to podbelly.com to find cool podcasts like us. All right. So yes.
There's a reminder, perfect reminder right there.
Well, I just did it. All right. Well,
it's a terrible thing to say on a podcast because nobody can see what we're seeing.
What can you say? What are you talking about?
Dave's wearing his Podbelly shirt.
Ah, there you go. See, describe for people.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, this show's going swimmingly. Why don't we jump into listener feedback brought to you by Moses Family Jerky, the best snack to pack on your paranormal or normal adventure. Lish, what coupon code should they use to save 15% off their entire order? Spooky Jerky 15.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I put you on the spot.
I know. I was like, wait a minute, what is it?
That was the sound of panic in Alicia's voice right there. Oh, wait a minute.
I don't know why I did that.
Thanks.
Well, I was like, we'll just make this like a tag team thing.
Yeah, no, that didn't work.
Okay, no, it didn't work. We'll never try that again.
Or at least tell me before you do it so I can at least prepare myself. But
we heard from Corey. Hey, guys. My first day back at work since all this stuff happened. Hopefully, I'm not just standing around all day. Hopefully you weren't, Corey, and I'm glad that you feel better and you're back to work.
Okay.
So it was my first investigation being on the team, M&L Paranormal, and we were doing a residential with a follow-up cleansing. It was a pretty old house in Tooele, Utah. Now, Corey's nice enough to tell me how to pronounce it because he listens to this show, and I think I still botched it. Too-ILLA. Tooele. And I did botch it. Tooele is how it's pronounced. He might as well just put comma mark.
Right. I think you should just be like, just see how you say it, and then
correct me later
on the next episode. It's better that way.
Yeah, just let me. Yeah. So I was in the basement cellar thing, and I was doing some EVP burst, where you listen to it live. I didn't know there was a camera and another digital recorder down there with me. So I was viewing my audio, and I farted a few times, like super.
I feel you on that one.
Like super loud. I didn't think much of it. So a few days later, a girl on the team texted me and was like, "Hey, dude, were you farting?" I mean, I had to answer honestly, so I admitted to her, and this is what she sent me this video. It's an SNL skit. I don't know if you guys saw this. But I'm going to play a quick clip because it is funny.
Speak to us. Let your presence be known.
If you can hear us, give us a sign. What was that?
Did anyone else hear that?
Yeah, I did. No, I just shifted my feet. It was probably my tennis slippers scooting against the floor.
No, I'm sure that wasn't it. Do we have playback on that?
Well, let me check. No, don't bother. Don't bother. Got it.
Let's hear it again.
Corey, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
He said, I was so embarrassed. But your videos reminded me of that unfortunate moment. See, I posted some of our videos in the group, Facebook group, because I was like, while you're quarantined, if you're running out of things to watch, check out some of the silly stuff we made in the past. And I'm glad that, hopefully that entertained everybody. I'm glad Corey reminded you of this so you could share this incident with us. Yeah, we were actually just talking about the next movie we're going to make.
Yeah.
Heck, Dave, we used to do this back in the day. How many do you think we've made together?
Probably 8 or 10.
Yeah, we used to really be able to pump them out. I don't know what happened to us. I guess we just got older and more responsibility.
Yeah.
But back in the day, we just making them left and right. We did one, which I wish we had a bigger budget. We had no money. But we made one where there was another incident at 3 Mile Island. And this time the radiation mutated the fish. So they were flying fish. They had wings and teeth, and they were flying around eating everybody. So you guys had to shelter in place in the basement. Dave lasted about, I think we were trying to make a joke. He only made it like a half hour, and he couldn't take being trapped anymore. As soon as he went outside, he got eaten by the flying fish.
Yep.
The movie was called Chomped.
Yep. Chomped.
And I did not share that with anybody on Facebook because,
it's not good.
It's pretty bad.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It certainly was fun. Yeah, we just held the camera out of a frame, and I had this plastic fish, and I was just jabbing it to Dave's neck, going like, nom, 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 nom.
Yeah, I had an awesome death scene.
You did have a great death scene.
Yeah.
All right, back on track. We heard from Miss Libby Turner actually, she left a comment on Spreaker. Cool gang. This is Ace. Thank you, Missy Libby. Thank you very much. Let's see. We heard from a wicked joker on the Twitters. I have listened to all of your guys' episodes, and I'm really considering hitting up several of the Utah locations you have covered. If you do, Wicked Joker, let us know. That's awesome.
Totally. Let us know.
All right. We heard also on the tweets from Dan.Meyer.901832. Just finished this episode. It was great. I think that's in reference to the K's Crossing. Look forward to the rise and the fall of the cult of the pudding skin Nash.
Nice. Yes, they will all come to me. Yes, come to me, and we will enjoy the pudding skin in every way.
Oh, boy.
The rise and fall.
I was in until that moment.
Yeah. Maybe I used the wrong word in there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll be exploring that in the movie. Actually,
nice.
Just dropped a little nugget of what we're planning. We heard from Art Designs 305. Hey, man. Just want to ask if I can post these photos of on my socials and mention that you guys collect my art. Of course. Mm-hmm. Art Designs 305. Yeah, please do. And thank you once again, for sending us your art to hang in our studio.
Definitely.
And he also says he grew up with the Boy Scout Troop 54 from West Orange, New Jersey, where they would visit Crystal Lake and would also visit the Finger Lakes and Adirondack Mountains often. I'll give you more info soon. Please do. And shout out to my pudding skin leader.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Just sell all your worldly possessions and give them to me. Let's do this.
Oh, so you're already letting people know that it's not going to be a great thing to join the cult.
It is a great thing. I just haven't come up with a benefit package yet.
Okay, well, when you do, keep us posted.
Yeah. But either way, just send your cash. Either way, I'll come up with something good. Don't worry.
As long as we have to move to Texas to a compound you're building, I think we'll be okay.
Okay. Yeah, Texas is nice. It's sunny. Doesn't get cold. There you go. Yeah. Good food in Texas.
Good pudding in Texas.
Good pudding. Good food. Good Tex-Mex. Nice.
We heard from Jake. Hey, guys. I was away for a while, but I just listened to your episode on the Bear Leg Monster. Hilarious. So glad I suggested that topic. You may have forgotten me, but I remember you. Yeah, Jake, I am so sorry that I forgot who suggested that topic. In fact, Jake also suggested Kay's Cross.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Jake.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, man. And I tell you what, if you suggest another topic, I'm definitely going to write your name down. I'm not going to forget again. I actually joked in the chat with Jake, like, dude, I remember you too because I got this chat to remember. And then I scroll all the way to the top where he suggested those two things. I'm like, oh, clearly I failed hard on this. But thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
We heard from NWLA Cryptozoology.
Oh.
Stumbled upon your podcast recently and decided to go all the way back and listen to them from season 1, episode 1. You guys are great. Whew, he could have said something completely different.
Yeah.
I know. Would love to be a guest on the podcast sometime if it's possible. And it's possible. So we're going to try to work that out and have NWLA Cryptozoology on an upcoming episode.
For sure.
So pretty excited about that. Now, I got some other stuff. We're going to save them for the second half because these are some stories. People telling us about some weird things that happened to them, and I'm super excited. So without further ado, Alicia, take it away.
All right. Let me rearrange here. Okay, so the ghost hound of Goshen, or Goshen. I'm not really sure how to say it. I'm going to go with Goshen. In Newberry, South Carolina, on a very, a short strip of road, there is a local legend that has terrified the populace for over 100 years. Apparently, there is a ghostly hound, like a dog, that prowls the wilds outside of town and strikes terror into all who see it. It's located just outside of Newberry, South Carolina. And the stretch of road is Buncombe Road. But it goes through a national forest. It goes near a cemetery, an old church. So, it goes through, there's a bunch of different things that happen, near this road that would possibly cause some weird stuff. It's an unremarkable road, except for a certain eeriness that hangs over it. Now, according to legend, the hound is said to be the faithful pet of a peddler who was passing through the area sometime in the early 1850s. Now, it's said that a man was murdered nearby, and because this guy was just kind of going through the area, he was wrongfully accused for this murder. He was hanged and he was buried in the Ebenezer Church Cemetery, which I think is that church. His dog then supposedly refused to leave the gravesite, and he was like howling and barking, like he just was super upset.
Yeah,
That's a good boy.
Yeah, such a good boy.
He was a good
That's a
boy.
good boy.
My dog's looking at me right now. Such a good girl. Oh, here she comes.
Oh, no, she comes.
I heard that the dog for a while hung around the gallows where they hung him.
Okay.
And just howled and barked until somebody had to go out
Right.
and do something terrible to the dog.
They ended up stoning the dog. And because this dog was, it's the protector of this guy, it supposedly lingers in that area, acting as a guardian.
He's a good boy.
He is a good boy. Yeah. So there's stories of those after the fact that were in the lynch mob. They started getting attacked. Many were bitten, and one man almost drowned because he was thrown into the river by the dog.
Wait.
Yeah.
He was thrown?
He was thrown into the river.
Oh, okay. Hold on for a second. So there was a lynch mob to kill a dog?
No, to kill the guy. Because they thought he had murdered
I was
somebody.
like, to go after this dog. I thought that's a lot of people to go after one dog.
But the dog is taking his revenge.
Okay, these are bitings and him getting thrown into the river are after they've killed the dog, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. It wasn't very long until travelers along the old road began reporting a large white dog which lurched at their horses and was very white and frightening in appearance. Those brave enough slashed at the dog with their buggy whips, but the whip,
as you do.
Yes, but the whip would pass through the apparition. The dog would follow the frightened passengers until it reached a certain cemetery, then was seen to leap through the lock gates and disappear. Dr. Douglas was a country physician at that time whose home was on the old road, and until his death maintained that the ghost dog often accompanied him on his rounds. He was never afraid of the ghost and considered it to be a friend. So so there's like a lot of legend that's behind this. So is the dog bad? Or is it being more of a protector? I don't know.
Now, I did see that the guy they hung, then he was also found innocent.
Yes, he was.
I don't want to say days later, but shortly after they hung him, they found out, he didn't do it.
Yeah, he didn't do it.
They're like, sorry.
Yeah. So just to give you a description of what this dog looks like, it's a massive white dog with glowing red eyes. Basically the size of an adult Saint Bernard, but with...
That's big.
Yeah, that's a big one. With greater speed and strength. So like faster than what a Saint Bernard would do.
Like a Hulk dog.
Yes, like a Hulk dog. It was very aggressive. Excuse me.
Whoa.
I know. Sorry. I got some drink in my throat. Sorry about that. It was very aggressive and threatening, snarling at, chasing, and even leaping at witnesses before vanishing into thin air. So that's the description of this dog.
So you know what the description makes me think of?
What?
Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Ghost.
Ghost.
I mean, this is Ghost.
Yes.
This is a large, white, almost direwolf-sized dog that's very protective of its owner or master or whatever you want to say. And, I think this, I don't know, there's parallels there. That,
Well, one of the descriptions, people describe it like they call it happy dog.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of always just kind of baring his teeth like he's doing this big giant smile, but he might just be showing his teeth because, I'm coming for you.
Why so serious?
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
So one of the first known sightings, besides with the lynch mob, of course, was in 1855. a plantation owner, William Hardy, he sent one of his slaves, one of the young slaves, to fetch a doctor to take a look at a sick man. The slave began making his way, and I think he was on a donkey or a mule or something like that. But he heard,
ass.
yes, but he heard,
Nice ass.
but he heard through the clopping of the mule's hooves, a sort of snarling, howling noise come from behind him. And when he looked back, he saw this hulking white hound that then began to chase after him. No matter how fast they went, the hound caught up to them easily, passing them and sending the mule into such a panic that it almost threw the slave off its back. The hound then apparently stopped there in the night to stare at the man before evaporating into thin air. Now, no one really believed this young boy, but they respected a local doctor named Jim Cofield, who also saw the beast around that time. It came like after him on the road before it vanished. So it was like chasing him or whatever before it vanished. Cofield would claim to have seen the hound on several occasions and that it absolutely terrified his own dog, which refused to walk down the road. So this is back in 1855. In 1936, Barry Sanders, he claims that it chased him all the way home, only stopping when the scared man reached the edge of his property. In 1970, and I'm just going to read what I have written down because I copied it from something else, but an old lady said that the white hound appeared at the edge of her property, first looking normal size, but inexplicably grew to enormous dimensions before leaping at her and causing her to faint. After which, when she woke up, it was nowhere to be seen. So it got bigger.
Grew in size?
Yeah.
What caused that?
I don't know.
Right? Was it just like walking around and this ghostly foreman was like, oh, I see somebody did that.
Yeah. Right.
And then all of a sudden they grew big? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
That was my grew big sound.
I thought that one was weird. Now, I have another one. I don't know from what year, like when this actually happened, but Roger McReadle, or Reedy, that's an I, says that his father claimed to have seen it.
Eye.
Yeah, there's an I there, not an L. Says that his father claimed to have seen it when he was younger and lived just around the corner from the old Ebenezer Church. He says it's an odd tale, but he believes it because his father had as little of what might be called imagination about him, and he was not prone to telling tall tales. So he actually believed what his dad was saying him. But according to the father, at the time, one of the family's cows had gone missing, so he had gotten on his pony and ridden out to go look for it. Now, and I have a quote from him. The sun was about to set. I didn't like being down there with it getting dark, but my grandmother would have skipped me if I had left a cow out, so I rode on down to where our fence bordered the road and started looking at the barbed wire fence we had down there. I heard it before I saw it, something behind me running fast along the road. I turned, and the biggest, meanest-looking dog I have ever seen was running straight at us. There was nothing between him and us but that barbed wire fence. The dog didn't bark, howl, make a sound except his feet running. In his eyes, I was scared to death. And the pony, well, he bucked and threw me. I slammed into the barbed wire fence and took off. When I picked myself up, the dog was gone. Just gone. But I took off running and didn't stop till I was at the house. I was hollering at the top of my lungs. I must have scared my mama, because she didn't say a word about me having lost a cow and my horse both. I'd been so scared I hadn't even noticed I had been cut very bad from the barbed wire. She cleaned me up and bandaged me. I slept with the light on my room that night. The horse and the cow came home by themselves in the morning. So I'm not sure when this happened, but I would say probably 70s, 50s, somewhere in there.
Well,
Yeah.
I would definitely say the horse and the cow were abducted by aliens and then put them back on there because, that's where they go.
Yeah.
They got the horse because they were like, well, what is this? It kind of looks like a cow, so let's take this thing too and probe the heck out of it. But then they sent them back in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, but they don't let cows back in one piece. I mean, cattle mutilations are the only way that
True.
aliens do
Yeah, but that's true. You have a point, Dave. You have a point. Okay.
Now, the last reported sighting of the ghost hound was in 1998. They don't have a whole lot of details about this, but it still roams the road. So, yeah.
Now, I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I don't know the size of the ghost dog
Oof.
or whatever
Ghost
you guys
is
are talking
big.
about. But
It's a direwolf named Ghost. It's an all-white
Yeah.
direwolf that was so each of the children in the Stark family received a direwolf. They found a litter. Mother had passed away. This is the first season, so it's not really a spoiler. And each
it is for me. I've never seen it.
well, watch 3 episodes and you'll get there.
Yep. Yep.
But
Yeah, you have time now.
Jon Snow received Ghost, who was the runt of the litter, but actually grew to be normal size compared to all the other direwolves.
Yep.
But pure white and very, very protective of Jon Snow,
Yeah.
and seen throughout a lot of the story. Not so much in the show because they didn't have the budget for the CGI, but
True.
yeah.
Is it like the same size as the big wolf in Ragnarok? In Thor
Oh
Ragnarok?
no, that's a really big wolf. I don't think he's
Okay.
that big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it can
direwolf
grow.
is like 50% bigger than a normal wolf.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still big size, but more like a bear size or something like that, or like the size of a llama without the long neck.
Now, this road in South Carolina you're talking about, this is like it's kind of desolate. Like it's
Yeah.
out in the middle of nowhere. Like
Very
it's not
rural.
like somewhere you'd want to go
Yeah.
hanging out trying to find this creature. So it's very rural. But that particular graveyard that's where his master was buried.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think he just kind of haunts that area. I feel like people have seen him mostly around there, but there might be some other locations not too far from there. But yeah, it's the cemetery and that strip of road he haunts.
Do you think he haunts the ancestors of those who hung his master?
I don't know, but he was apparently already going after the people that killed him. So
Right.
Yep.
I don't know.
It doesn't explain the slave because I was thinking the same thing. But the slave boy who was going to get the doctor on the mule, unless it was like I don't care, he was the slave of the family who was somebody who was part of the lynch mob or something.
Maybe.
But I agree. Like that was one of my first thoughts. Like only if you have this blood in your veins
Right.
does he show for you, and if he does, you don't want to see him. It's not like a happy thing.
Like the older lady that fainted when she saw it. It found her at her home, grew 3 times its size.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of terrorizing her. Like, I could smell that you had the same blood as the people that did this to my master. So I'm going to torture you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think that the dog can get eternal revenge on anybody.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the. I was going to say for my final thoughts of but you kind of alluded to it there. I think the concept of vengeance is the strongest magnet that keeps souls on this earth. The ghosts and the hauntings and things like that, and animals who understand vengeance but don't understand anything else. I mean, they're very the concept that this dog was so attached to its master and somebody harmed its master and it couldn't do anything.
Right.
The vengeance that it felt, I can't imagine, from a perspective of the dog, and then taking that and just anchoring itself from the afterlife that it needs to be here is, it's truly monumental.
For sure.
I hope my dog could take vengeance if something happens to me.
That's not the question that I had. Do dogs sense vengeance? Do they have a sense of vengeance? Because I know we've had a lot of, where I live, I kind of live out on the farm, out in the woods kind of a thing. And the only creature that we've come across that has any sense of like vengeance or whatever are goofy raccoons.
Okay.
They're nasty little buggers, man. And
why do you think they have a sense of revenge or vengeance? Maybe they're just hungry.
They do. If you mess with them, they'll wait till you go to sleep and then they'll come and mess with you. They have they'll like enlist their other raccoon buddies to come and do that.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if a dog has the ability to do that. I don't know.
See, I don't think it's so much of it's not revenge. It's like the duty, eternal protection of its master. Mm-hmm. And it's more of a revenant type of thing. Like this dog, I wouldn't call it a ghost. I'd call it a revenant. And that it is bound until it secures that its master was, what's what I'm looking for? Like,
that's what I was wondering. Is it like, does the master have a sense of like does have something else going on, and because the dog is kind of duty bound to protect the master, are they linked together or something like that? That was
yeah.
I don't know.
Now,
there you go.
I have no answers for you.
I need to look some information about raccoons.
I need to look some information on the revenant, because to me that just says that you're in the forest in the snow dealing with bears.
No, I'm curious. Like, you think that the raccoons are vengeful?
They're little bastards, man.
And you're saying like you do something to him and he goes and gets his buddies and comes back. I mean that
they do. We've dealt with this where like we've had issues with raccoons coming into the yard and we've had to get them out of there or trap one of them. And literally that night, their buddies will show up and mess with you. And they'll do something. They're nasty little buggers and they're smart and they have funky hands.
Just so you know, the movie The Revenant is close, but the real concept of a revenant is that somebody that comes back from the dead to avenge their life. Right. So it's the Revenant movie. Leonardo DiCaprio. He didn't actually come back from the dead. He was.
That was
they thought they killed him. What's that?
That's my only frame of reference. So I'm wondering, like, what did that have to do with getting it on with bears? Because didn't he do something like that in that movie? Let me preface this. I actually haven't seen the movie.
Oh, my gosh.
But I knew that there was a lot of Leo and bear action. I think
you may have found the obscure fetish porn version of that movie.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Well, paranormal researcher Tina McSwain with the Charlotte Area Paranormal Society, CAPS, became fascinated with the tale of the ghost hound of Goshen and made her way down to the area with some friends to investigate the strange stories in the summer of 2007.
Okay.
She found the original Buncombe Road, and she was also able to interview locals about the story. Although many of the younger generation had never heard of it, some of the old-timers knew about the ghost hound. Ghost hound. That came out weird. And a few even claimed to have seen it themselves or to know someone who had. One man said that he had seen it several times. The times were always late, like around 1 a.m. or later. He described it as a big dog, pure white, that floated above the ground, but it moved very fast. Nice, Nash.
Yeah. That's kind of an airy one.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Negro Modelo.
It floated above the ground.
It certainly did.
Yeah.
It was light, airy, and floaty.
He said that it had one big red bloodshot eye and said that his mother had seen it, but she was now dead. A lady said her mother had seen it and was so frightened that she would no longer drive down that road at night. This lady also told us she had been chased by the dog when she was little, but really did not want to talk about the experience, so they couldn't get any more information. During her investigation, this would be Tina's investigation, she was able to find and check out the old decrepit cemetery that the road passes, describing it as one creepy area in general. And there she claims that while she was there, she smelled a scent of perfume. I don't know what that has to do with this, but unfortunately, they did not see the legendary hound for themselves. Yeah. What are you writing, Nash? I can't read it. It's
it just has one big red eye.
Yeah, I know.
That was one thing. So,
well, just for everybody, there's that nice pause. Nash is holding up a piece of paper with writing on it on the Skype screen here, and we're all trying to read it. Sorry for that.
Trying to read it.
And it was super blurry, so we couldn't even read it.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just think of one big red eye, and that just makes me think of something else. But
what? Tell us.
What door are you opening?
I know, right?
Don't go there, Mark. Trust me, this is not a place to go. Because I'm thinking that the wolf has got 2 red eyes, and the only thing that has the only one-eyed monster that I think of
oh God,
something very different.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's instantly where my mind went.
Yeah.
But I would hope it's not a red eye.
Well, that's what. If there's one big red eye, man, that guy that needs to see a doctor because that's not good.
Oh my God.
Might need penicillin.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't know.
That's all my notes. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I know.
Super interesting. I still can't stop thinking about people getting thrown into the river by the dog.
I know.
I mean, that's pretty interesting. I feel like it can shapeshift into werewolf-like, so it can grab and chuck.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure if it's direwolf size, it can
just grab you,
certainly do that. Yeah,
shake you like a rag doll and spit you out.
I mean, I'm not thinking we're talking like tossing you 30, 50 feet. It's it's the road is close to the river and it throws you, and it adds some inertial mass to you that you roll into the river type of thing. But yeah,
I'd like it to transform into a man beast too. That'd be awesome.
Do you think it has some because of its duty bound nature that it has almost like a poltergeist type of quality to it, to where it's so dedicated to its cause that it's 100% vested in what it's doing. So maybe because of that, over the years, it grew kind of in power or in ability. I don't know. Because this dog has been around for a heck of a long time.
Right.
And doing the same thing. So maybe over time it grew to the ability to be able to affect things in the IRL, as the young kids say. You know what I'm saying? Right.
I'm going to cut that out.
Yeah.
But be able to push people in or affect things in the real world. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never ever I think what you just said is kind of interesting for a movie. Can over time, can this spirit amass power and become stronger and stronger? That's super fascinating to think that. That's.
I mean, it's not like a ghost that has any kind of malice or anything, but because the dogs, they're only. I think creatures is only bound by love, and and by family and by love. But something like this, where the dog was bound by duty almost and protecting its master, that over time that it grew. I don't know, in its sense of duty or something, and that manifested some other abilities because of that sense of duty. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's any movie where a dog could get revenge, number one, killed his master, and then they stoned him. I mean, this dog can come back and amass power and take down the people that did that. It's an interesting horror movie.
Right.
But see, I think. So I have 2 theories on this. The first, from the revenant side of things. So if this dog really is a revenant, that means that it must take revenge on those that caused harm.
Right.
But it obviously didn't do that. It didn't kill the townsfolk who were part of the lynch mob. So as a result, it's bound to this world. It can never free its soul, type of thing. So it's there just constantly. Maybe it can smell ancestral blood in people, and that's why it shows up. But it's bound to a lifetime or eternity of torment. Sorry, not lifetime. It's already expired that. But right. So the with that, it's like, okay, well, it's kind of stuck, and that's unfortunate. The other side is, what if it's bound to its master? And the master, obviously being dead, and we don't have ghosts of the ghost sightings of the master anywhere. Right. What if what we need is some sort of a necromancer to raise the master from the dead,
oh God,
so that the ghost can get relief and be with its master again, and then both can be sent off into more of a peaceful afterlife.
I don't know. That sounds like a question for the Winchester boys.
I know.
For sure.
Is being duty bound to something or someone enough to hold somebody's spirit in this realm? That's the question. Because usually it's like a level of regret or of love or of loss, usually with a person. But does the nature of
revenge is one of the strongest forces.
Right.
Yeah.
It overcomes all natural boundaries. Like anything can lose all sense of natural order if it needs to enact quote unquote revenge or vengeance on something else.
Well, right. And that's what I'm thinking is, like, if that's the case, then the spirit of this dog won't ever go away. Right. Because its master has moved on and is gone.
What if the master didn't move on? That's why the dog's still around.
Yeah, it's still protecting the area.
His master, former master, is also a revenant because he was hung for a crime he didn't commit. So he's still lurking around, or he melded his spirit with his dog's spirit.
Where I was headed with this is
that makes him like an ultimate spirit.
Yeah, like a fusion from Goku and Vegeta and Dragon Ball Z. They've come together. Yeah, and that's where I'm thinking that maybe the two of them, the duty-bound nature of the dog, mixed with the wrongful death of the person, the two have come together into some amalgamation of something that will never go away, that is always going to be bound. That's kind of...
I do think, and this is unfortunate. This is whatever. But the master, he was a vagrant. He was wandering through things. Didn't have a home. Didn't have a life. Didn't have a family. Didn't have anything. He didn't expect to have any societal norms given to him. So I think when the fact that we haven't seen any hauntings from him. Right. Unless he did something like that, it probably means that he accepted his fate, knowing that he didn't have any protections, even if he was innocent, which is a shame, but that's how life was in the past. But his dog didn't have the ability to understand that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the dog is so, hellbound on vengeance, because all I know is this is my master. This is a good guy, and you're hurting him, and I can't do anything. Right. And now when I'm sticking up for him, you're throwing rocks at me, and that's bad.
Well, right, and that's kind of the question. Is like, well, if it's,
I was like, we got to cut to the Sarah McLachlan song at some point.
Because it's like if the guy is moved on, then the dog is kind of just stuck throughout time, And if the guy and the dog have merged into one ghost, well, he's still kind of stuck, because the dog will never move on because the dog is duty bound to protect its master. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That sounds like a really unfortunate scenario, and I don't know. How would you fix that? How would you move the dog on? I feel bad for the dog.
Yeah,
I know, right? Well, why don't we take a break? I feel a need to walk over here, give my dog a hug.
Oh.
We'll be right back.
Hey, friends. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
Holy moly, there's a Bigfoot.
You can call me Frank.
Holy moly.
Oh my God. What was that?
Is that Bigfoot?
Call me Frank.
Holy moly, that's a Bigfoot.
You can call me Frank. Frank.
We're back. All right. The ghost hound
Yes.
of Goshen.
Of Goshen.
The Hulk Ghost Hound.
The Hawk ghost hound.
Yeah, yeah. To be able to Hulk out is a tremendous asset when you're a ghost.
You think?
Oh, yeah, because you can grow in size. It's like, woo! I try to grow in size now, but it's quite difficult in my old age.
So you said that before, but
I was like, I feel like this is not the appropriate podcast for that,
it's
Nash.
not.
Right.
No, I mean in musculature, Mark. What are you talking about?
What if this wasn't a revenant? What if this was gamma radiation, a solar storm, sent a ray of gamma radiation that happened to hit the dog at the exact moment it was getting stoned?
Oh, boy.
And now it's not actually a ghost. It is a Hulk dog.
Nice.
Well, you can only hope for something like that
in
to
the
happen when I'm
comic
getting
book,
stoned.
in a comic book way, if they was getting hit with gamma rays, while it was getting hit by a rock, it would also take on maybe some properties of that rock.
The rock, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So then it would be like a rock dog too,
Yeah.
Oh, high
like
defense.
the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 19 or 20 AC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that town would regret every decision it ever made because the rock
yeah.
dog.
And maybe that's how the guy got thrown into the river. It wasn't actually the dog grabbing him and throwing him. It was the dog triggering an avalanche that just threw him out into the water.
Yeah. Well, could you imagine if a dog would have like some type of ESP powers?
Yeah.
That's more of like an elemental situation. That's a whole. We're throwing a lot of concepts out right here.
I can
everybody.
guarantee you. Here's what would happen in my house. I'd be about to take a bite of a nice big juicy burger I made on the grill, and it would just all of a sudden float out of my hand and into my dog's mouth. That's exactly how she would use her powers.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing if I was there, Mark. So don't worry about that. It's just general concept. You make a heck of a burger on the grill, so I'm just saying.
Oh, boy.
That's the only way you can sum it up. Oh, boy.
Yeah, oh, boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, if that's our final thoughts on the ghost hound,
Yeah.
'cause I saw ghost hound.
Oh, I did want to mention, because I looked up why it was called the Ghost Hound of Goshen, because I was like, does Goshen stand for, like, is it a Native American term? Like, is that where Happy Dog comes from? I was like, I don't know. Apparently, the township of Goshen is right there on that road. So that's why he's called Goshen, the Ghost Hound of Goshen. So
Well,
it's very
completely
boring.
anticlimactic. You should have made something up.
I know.
Yeah, really. Oh my gosh, it was geographical.
I know it was. I was really hoping. I was hoping for something like very cool, but yeah, it's just the location. So anyway,
Wow. All right.
No, but I'm glad you answered that because it was actually one of the questions I had and did
did it?
not know,
Okay.
so.
All right. Well, I answered it for you. All right.
Yeah, I just wish it had been more.
I know. Me too. I really wanted more, but it's
And I did see it pop up referenced also as Hellhound of Goshen.
Ooh. Okay.
That seems more of an apt description than a ghost hound. It's more of a hellhound.
Yeah.
Because isn't that what hellhounds were? Isn't that they're the guardians of the vampire while he sleeps, or of the undead while they sleep, or the demon, or of something while they were slumbering? That's what the hellhound's job was. What the job was.
Yeah, but I don't think that the poor guy who was hung for this crime he didn't commit was an evil entity with a demonic undead dog to protect him. I think this was a revenant, a protector from pure vengeance due to injustice.
Yeah.
But the dog didn't know that.
But the dog didn't have to know that. The dog was just
That's why it was a hellhound.
caught
That's what I
up
was thinking.
in what the dog knew. I mean,
Maybe that's how you make a hellhound.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That goes to the question
A
of like
traumatic
what
experience
qualifies you as a hellhound
for the hound.
Yeah.
And now he's going to cause.
Is that like
he's going to wreak havoc.
like an application process or something, or what?
Right.
I don't know.
I think none of us do.
Yeah.
Well, we should take this train into the... we got some listener stories. I don't know why I used the reference to train. Oh, because we're off the rails again. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to kick things off here. I got one. Lish got one. I spared the boys from trying to read on their Skype. But we're going to kick things off. We heard from Kelly. Hey, guys. I just want to drop a story about a place called D-Max by Hauser Lake. D-Max. Last September, after a few hours of night fishing, my sister-in-law and I wanted to stop here and get a few drinks. As we walked in, I noticed some old photos hanging on the wall. And the one that stuck out was a picture of three ladies that looked like it was from the 1920s. But it was the lady in the middle that really stood out. Now, my sister-in-law is a sensitive. As we were having a conversation, she looks over to the long countertop where a waitress was cleaning and had a strange look on her face. I joked, not to give people weird looks. She said she wasn't there, a lady at the counter. I said, what lady? She tells me that there's a lady sitting at the counter named Kay.
Oh, God.
Wow, right in the middle of the story. Thanks, buddy.
Sorry.
She says there's a lady sitting at the counter named Kay. So I have her come over to the picture of the three ladies and pointed at the one in the middle. And she said, is that her? She said, yep, that's her. A little while later, the owner comes over to tell us that they're closing soon. And she asked the owner if he knew someone named Kay. He said he did, and that Kay was a lady of the night who was murdered in the upstairs apartment in the 1920s. I asked her, is she one of the ladies in this photo? And he replied, yes, she's the one in the middle. Thanks for listening to my story. Keep up the good work.
Ooh.
So to recap, they went to D-Max. And while he was checking out this old picture, the waitress was cleaning down the bar. There was nobody there. But his sister-in-law saw a lady sitting at the counter, which turned out to be the lady from the photo from the 1920s.
Wow.
That would be a little unnerving, I think.
But yeah.
Yeah. And, honestly, you don't know the details of the murder and everything, but that could be very similar to what we just talked about.
True.
A whole Revenant situation of, vengeance. She's there to find peace, and those people that were involved in the murder, people, whatever, aren't there anymore. So she's stuck, and she's just there.
She's going to keep repeating.
Right.
Hanging at the bar. Yeah, Kelly, thanks for sharing. I greatly appreciate that.
That's the kind of experience I'm looking to get every time I go to Funk.
Oh, God.
To see a apparition sitting at the bar?
Yeah. I don't really want to put much into it, but I want to look over and see an apparition over there and be like, how you doing? That's all. It's a simple request.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they all stay away from you.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
You have nothing to worry about.
Just like most ladies, alive or dead, they stay away.
Social distancing.
That's right, exactly.
even from
right.
apparitions.
Right.
All right. We also heard from Bondo. Bondo recently signed up on Patreon.
Yep.
So thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Also, a shout out to Steve. Not going to say your last name because I don't need to.
Yeah.
But you know who you are. He just signed up yesterday on Patreon.
I know.
Thank you so much. Now, sorry to interrupt you, Alicia, but Bondo, he sent a rather long one in, but a lot of interesting tidbits in this story. So go ahead.
Okay. No! In the Darth Vader voice from episode 3. So I'm almost caught up. I just finished episode 83, which means I won't be able to binge your podcast. But it's fine. I have something to look forward to now. So this might be a long email. Not sure. Just going to go with it. So I found it very weird that you guys never heard of banana slices in your pudding. Like, it may just be a Southern thing. Banana flavor pudding with some banana slices and vanilla wafers is so good. Sometimes you can even put whipped cream and mix it in or layer everything. Anyway, I do think I am sensitive to the paranormal, either a lot or a little. My earliest memory of something paranormal was when I was around 13 or 14. I was laying in bed and I woke up in the middle of the night for no reason. Just random waking. Well, I looked towards the foot of my bed and I saw this man in that classic raincoat and hat. But it's only like the silhouette. I immediately pull my covers over my head, not knowing what to do. I'm not sure how much time passed after that, but I eventually pulled the covers off and looked around and didn't see anything. I quickly ran and turned on my light and just laid in bed for the rest of the night. A year or two later, I remembered my sister telling me a story of when she was staying at her grandma's and she woke up in the middle of the night and saw a man outside her window with a raincoat. And I don't recall if he had a hat on too. I will have to ask again. But when she saw this man, she immediately got my uncle, who was staying at my grandma's at the time. And so he went outside and there were footprints outside her window. Not sure if her story and mine are connected or if it was really a person outside her window. Either way, it's scary. Now, y'all have been recently talking a lot about sleep paralysis. Well, I've been having sleep paralysis for as long as I can remember. It used to happen maybe once or twice a year, but a year or two ago is when it started to happen often, like a few times a week, sometimes twice in one night. It happens so often that I got used to it and can somehow stop myself from it happening. I do recall a few moments where I was maybe about to astral project. Not sure, but I do know it freaked me out when it felt like I wasn't in control. I have seen things when I've had sleep paralysis. I have moments where I feel my blankets being pulled and I try to pull them back up, but they get pulled off of me. And when I finally snap out of the paralysis, I look and my blankets are like 2 feet away from my bed. I would say they just slid off me, but they would fall right next to the bed, not 2 feet away. One time when this was happening, I happened to look down where my blanket was being pulled and saw these dark hands pulling them off me. I never saw more than just the hands. It was very scary. I also had this one where I saw a boy, maybe 6 or 7, standing in my bedroom doorway open. I always close it. Doorway open. Okay. I always close it. The boy looked like the boy from The Grudge, but he had no eyes. It was just darkness, and his mouth was open, and it was also just darkness. I remember closing my eyes, hoping he would go away, but then I opened my eyes, and he's standing at my bed, and I screamed, closing my eyes again. When I opened them, he was gone, and my door was closed. The sleep paralysis doesn't happen to me anymore because I think I figured out a way to stop it or just dampen it. I burn incense in my apartment and cleanse often. Also, just try to put good energy around me. I also don't think about it much at my place which I think helps, because when I do think about it, I start to notice things or get feelings. I still see shadows every now and then from the corner of my eye, but I dismiss it, so I don't build up whatever energy it is. I would like to further my gift somehow if what happened to me was real, and not just my mind messing with me. But I won't try without some guidance. So when I find someone to help me or confirm that I have some sensitivity, then I'll dive more into it. So I have one more experience to tell y'all. Me and 2 of my friends decided to go ghost hunting. I had heard from another friend that a male and female ghost are at this bridge at our local park. So we decided to go there first. I have my digital recording going and a spirit box. So during that time, I didn't realize I had the gain all the way up on my recorder. So nothing was captured, just static. And couldn't hear anything through the static. Well, I realized this after we investigated there. So on the way to the next place, I adjusted the gain and had it at a good level. We get to the next location, which is called Crybaby Bridge. Now, not sure if that's the actual name. My friend said it was Crybaby Bridge. Well, I know of a different bridge in this town called Cry Baby Bridge. Okay. So I think maybe there's a lot of misunderstanding of which is the real Cry Baby Bridge. Maybe it's all of them. It was after midnight, and it had gotten really cold, so we decided to see if we could capture anything while staying in the car. We parked on the side of the road right before you entered the bridge. We did not capture anything, but once we started our car, we went back across the bridge to go home. Well, I put part of an audio recording of that session in this email. In the recording, you hear my friend say, "So we don't get pulled over." We were there for a while and didn't want the police to eventually come by, so that's why we left. But at that 7-second mark, I think I hear a voice through the spirit box say, "Hey," or something close to "hey." And that "hey" happened as soon as our car got onto the bridge. At 12 seconds, you hear my friend say, "Bye." We are almost to the end of the bridge at this point, and as soon as we are exiting the bridge, another voice comes in at 26 seconds. And think the voice says, "Don't leave." Also, could just be me wanting to hear that. I do plan on going back once this virus passes and doing more investigations. Well, that's just a few of my stories. I have many more. So I heard you talking about moving to Texas sometime in the future. Well, if that happens, I live in Oklahoma. Texas can be a short trip depending on where in Texas. So if that being the case, then the first round of beers is on me.
All right.
Also,
Nice.
Oklahoma has some haunted places I have yet to visit. I got to get a team together. My friends tend to be scared of this stuff, too scared of this stuff. You should check out the Skirvin Hotel in Oklahoma City. It has a history of messing with the OKC Thunders, which is the NBA team opponents. Also, check out the Stone Lion Inn Bed and Breakfast in Guthrie, Fort Washita in Durant, Fort Reno in El Reno, and the Parallel Forest in the Wichita Mountains.
Ooh.
Not sure if there are a lot of those places. I haven't looked into them yet because I want to investigate them and want to go in only knowing where in these places paranormal stuff happens. So if I do capture something, I can line it up later with its history. Last few things. I feel like Nash could do a good impression of the actor Jeff Garlin. Both of their voices seem the same range, and Nash has moments where he sounds like him. Anyway, thanks for everything y'all do. Favorite podcast I listen to. Also, just became a Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you're all doing well and hope to talk to you soon. Hashtag don't feed the Nash. Heard Mark say it episodes ago. Hashtag feed the Nash. Hashtag putting skin FTW.
For the win, baby.
I did say one time, hashtag don't feed the Nash. But it didn't work.
I know.
First, I would like to say, Bondo, thank you for sending that in. And second, Alicia, that was a lot to read.
But I think I did good, right?
You did great. Congratulations. Excellent job. Thank you. Thank you. I want to go back into a story there quickly. When he talked about seeing that, it would essentially what I'm thinking is a shadow man. He described it with like the raincoat and a top hat.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
essentially the exact same thing I said I saw.
Right.
That stood in the corner and then moved over next to you in the bed. So it's so. I feel like go ahead, Nash.
That you sacrificed Alicia to.
I didn't sacrifice. She's still right here. I didn't sacrifice her at all.
And that you were like, you know what? I'm going back to bed. You deal with Alicia. She's closer instead of you. Yeah, I got you. Anyway,
In this temporal universe, she's still here.
Right.
yes, exactly.
Oh my God! What if the raincoat man replaced you? Because I rolled over. He's like, all right, here's a clone.
I guess you'll never know.
Uh-oh. Shouldn't have put that thought in my head. Now I gotta come up with a series of tests to make sure you're not a clone. But I just found that interesting. His description was, I'm like, that's what I saw too. And then he said his sister saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew. I mean, I wonder if Bondo can reach out to Rhonda about exploring his sensitivity.
That's exactly what I thought when he said, "Is there any way?" And I thought we just need to connect these two.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Definitely, for sure. In fact, Rhonda was emailing her about coming back on the show.
Yeah.
Of course, then the pandemic hit.
I know.
So, but we're going to figure we'll get her back on to hang out. So that would be an excellent question to ask her if she's ever helped mentor
Right.
anybody that was sensitive and didn't know next
Know
steps.
what to do. Yeah.
Almost like Yoda.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right. For all of you wayward souls who like Star Wars.
every young Jedi Padawan
Yep.
needs a Jedi Master.
Yep.
Like the Robin to Batman.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, you could have kept it. You could have kept it in the Star Wars realm, but all right.
know.
It's true over many realms. It's true over many truisms. Batman needs a Robin. Yoda needs a Luke. It's just how it is.
Keep going.
Ip Man needs a Bruce Lee. I'm just saying it needs to pass on.
Keep going.
Does that make our podcast the sacred texts?
Oh, the Scrolls of Scalos, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which is a Conan reference, if anybody got it. You know what I'm saying?
No.
What if the world ends and one thing they recover
Is us.
is this podcast, and then we become essentially Galaxy Quest, where they're listening to our recordings. And go ahead,
Don't
Dave.
get me
You
wrong.
have
I love Galaxy Quest. I thought that was well done, but I would prefer Bill and Ted.
Oh, that's okay.
With the guitar, and be excellent to each other.
Yes.
Oh my God! But that would mean, like in the future, they'd be like their finest restaurants would be serving pudding skin.
Yes, that's where the cult of Nash would flourish. You know what I'm saying? The cult of the pudding skin.
And all of their leaders have the radio voice, and all of their fact finders are anchors.
Yes.
Oh boy.
I love it. They have a whole cast system going on for different.
Everybody greeting is like, "Hey guys."
Right.
There's no handshake. It's "Hey guys."
Right. Yeah. Because in the future there'd be no handshaking, but that would also mean, "Hey guys, pudding skin." Everybody would they would know how to make beer.
Oh.
That's right. That's a perfect world. That's a perfect universe.
If this is not a utopia, what is?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Would that also mean that aliens also cohabitated with us?
Yeah, and whenever they need, they pull up some cows or some people and probe them all over the place. It's okay. It's fine.
Oh,
and then there's
Frank.
Only if the cult of the pudding skin approves.
Oh, I like this. They're like the governmental body is the cult. I like where this is headed.
See, I see it differently. I see the cult of the pudding skin being that underground, like in Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone. The cult of pudding skin would be the underground group eating rats and
Dennis
stuff
Leary.
like. He'd be like the Dennis Leary, fighting against the establishment.
Yeah.
Right, because we would go too far.
Either way, it's a win in my book. Because
I guess I just took away the utopia. Yeah.
Demolition Man, they had the only good burgers. Was down underground. So I'm down either way.
I would love to see, and Frank the Bigfoot actually would come out and let everybody know I do exist, and then he would become a game show host on the most popular network, the PPEN, Paranormal Punchers Entertainment Network. No.
Or the Taco Bell Network.
PPEU, the Paranormal Punchers Entertainment Universe.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh my God. Can we start writing this?
Where's
It goes way off the rails.
That's right.
This has nothing to do.
This is it right here. This is alt history, alt future stuff. This is good stuff.
Yes. Maybe it'll.
What do they call it when there's a story about Batman and it's not in a direct timeline? There's a name for it. There's
like an Elseworlds.
Yes, it's an Elseworld tale.
Or you could even have in Marvel, they would have What If.
Mm-hmm.
So, Paranormal Punchers, What If?
That's right. That's right.
We were the only podcast that would survive the podcast apocalypse because everybody is a podcaster. If we were the only ones to survive, and then that's how it shaped and rechanged the future.
That's right. Lots of pudding and beer. And I'm telling you, I like where this is headed.
Everybody would believe in Bigfoot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And the entire society, the entire world would believe that Dave and his family are reptilians from the Hollow Earth.
Oh, no, I'm not a reptilian.
No. We never said he was a reptilian.
Oh, right.
He's just tech support.
I'm called King.
Oh, nice.
Which is funny because one iteration of the comic book is that Dave went to Hollow Earth and because he could make beer, they thought he was some type of higher being.
Right.
That's right. They just come to realize that he is a higher being, is what it is.
I like the Utopia, and I'm seeing that the Paranormal Punchers : the movie could just get like severely out of control with ideas and concepts.
A lot of this could be in a dreamscape somewhere. It could be like, it could be in all of our dreams as we're sleeping or we're captured and drugged. Mm-hmm. This is the Big Lebowski. This is the hallucination we have when we're all underneath. You never know. What
if we just took clips from our podcast and reenacted it with puppets and then animations to show things we were talking about? And we'd actually never appear in it. It's puppet versions of ourselves and animations of the weird stuff we're saying. Would you buy a ticket for that?
I am not going to allow a puppet to impersonate me. I mean, I am who I am. And
Wow. All
right, well, then it's then we're puppets and then just Dave.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, 3 puppets and Dave. Yeah.
Why am I stuck here with puppets?
Right.
I don't even know. All right, so we talked about the ghost Hound of Goshen, and somehow we got to
I have no idea how we got
Bill and Ted version of our podcast.
I think it's a logical progression, really. I think that really one leads to the other.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
In the future, they will have figured out mathematical proofs of how we got from there to here and why it's...
That will be probably a curriculum, right? One of the college classes. Figuring out how... Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love it. It does sound like Utopia.
Yes, it does. I'm going to second that, yes.
I do see it crumbling fast, though.
Yeah.
It'll be well worth it while it exists.
That's right.
Just like the pudding skin, it's fragile.
Oh, well. It's good either way. I like it. I like where our head's at. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, what I will say is we managed to talk about a paranormal topic, weave in Bill and Ted, weave in the Demolition Man. I mean, that's unheard of to try to get that particular Sylvester Stallone movie into a discussion on a show called Paranormal Punchers. Now, with the current pandemic and the toilet paper hoarding, there was a lot of memes going around about the 3 seashells.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh,
so
okay.
in a weird way, it was kind of topical to weave Demolition Man into our conversation.
Yes.
And
I like that rationalization. That's pretty good. I like that.
Thank you. And I'm going to end on this note. I would like to know if you guys have any clue or idea what possibly the 3 seashells could do.
Well, I had always thought, it's funny that you ask, Mark, because this is my theory on the seashell.
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Tune in later. I had always thought when they said seashells, because I had never heard of it at that time, that there was a creature inside the seashell that did something.
Okay.
and I'll just kind of leave it at that because I didn't know.
Wait, so that means you're saying like, wait,
don't even go there, my friend. Don't go there. I'm just saying, just leave it at that.
Oh boy,
I don't know if I want to leave that to my imagination.
Yeah, that's what I had always thought because I had never heard of the whole seashell thing.
But you saw
and
the
so
movie.
I was like, was there a creature with Q-tips or swabs or something? I don't know. I don't know.
Something was in the
It was
seashell.
the Pokemon that squirted water, Squirtle.
Squirtle.
The 3 seashells is just a bidet. That's different.
So one seashell was Squirtle. One was another Pokemon that would air dry it.
Yeah.
And what was the last one for? Oh, a little perfume to scent it up.
Happy ending.
There we go. Problem solved. Figured it out. Finally figured it out.
Finally figured out the 3 seashells.
And we just lost 10 more listeners.
Yep.
But hey, as always, I had an excellent time hanging out with you. And I can't believe the things we talked about on this episode. If you found us hoping to learn more about the, not Hellhound, the Ghost Hound of Goshen, well, I do apologize.
Yeah.
But hopefully you smiled. And I was going to sing a song in the vein of Tiger King, but I don't think I'm going to do it.
Oh.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
I had written it out and everything. It was all about the Ghost
He
Hound.
was working on it earlier today.
I was even going to use a little of the special effects on the board here to enhance the voice for my country stylings.
Maybe
Because
for the
I saw
Patreon.
Ghost Hound. Now I understand.
Oh my!
Because I saw Ghost Hound.
And there goes the other half of the listeners right there.
Yep.
And this is the kind of show you get in quarantine. So,
Yep.
without further ado, find out more about us at paranormalpunchers.com. Send us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you, whether it's a story or a topic idea or just to say hello. Hit us up. We do have a Patreon, if you would like to check that out. We do some fun stuff over there, some wacky stuff, some different stuff. Hopefully we're going to continue to amp that up and
Yep.
do and have a lot of fun. You guys are all awesome. Can't wait to hang out and see you in person. Hopefully it's sooner than later. And as we say around here, if it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.